What a night of sensational Champions League football. Mohamed Salah, Jordan Henderson, sensational for Liverpool Football Club in front of the baying, cauldron-like, amazing Anfield on a European night. The intensity in that game was amazing. A massive scare in the middle of the game where AC Milan from nowhere found themselves inexplicably 2-1 up in the game. It was an amazing start, no doubt about it whatsoever, from Liverpool from Liverpool Football Club. A great comeback from AC Milan, and then Mo Salah and Jordan Henderson in the second half, absolutely out of this world. Out of this world. Man City 6-3 victors over RB Leipzig tonight in the Champions League. An excellent start from them. Club Brugge held Paris Saint-Germain to a 1-1 draw. There's so much to talk about tonight. There's so much to go through tonight. My connection's bad, so it's going to look terrible for a moment. I'll get that sorted out very, very soon. But hit that like button. Hit that share button, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Football Terrace. Let's go. There we go. Listen, it's going to be an interesting night. We're going to take your calls. We're going to share the link very, very soon for you to come on and have your say. But I want to know how you're thinking and you're feeling after that excellent night of Champions League football. I'm going to bring a caller in to speak to you all because I've got to sort my internet connection out. Otherwise, it's going to be horrible. Tom Little is here with us now to have his say if he lives them himself. Tom, I need you to tell me how your team performed. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. You just speak away. Give me your thoughts and feelings on that performance.
It was an interesting performance. First 20 minutes, we played like we were the best team in the world. Played like we were the best team in the world for 20 minutes. Best I've seen us play for how long? So much energy. And there was actual belief behind the attacks. There was actual focus behind the attacks. We were actually creating stuff. Even Divock Origi looked good. And that's a hard thing to do. Divock Origi looked good. Great first half, and then the last 5 minutes we tarnished it all because we switched off. We did. You can point fingers at whoever. Trent was lazy running back. I think Gomez should have stayed with Matip, but that's an issue with this defence. You know, at the end of the day, when you don't have Van Dijk there, you've got two people who are very good number twos, but they don't know who will be the leader when they're together. So I can only assume that contributed to some of the mistakes at the back there. Second half, Mo Salah, great finish. The composure to do that in high stakes like that, with we needed a goal early on, and that is such a tough finish. And then Jordan Henderson, oh, he was absolutely abysmal tonight, and yet he scored a captain's goal when we needed them. Great finish, but there's certain things that we need to look at in that performance that really cannot happen again if we want to challenge, because I think we've got the team to challenge for the Champions League. I think we do. But in terms of coming up against better teams, we're going to struggle because we switch off at times.
There we go, people. I'm back. Sorry.
There we go.
I'm back here now. Sorry, I had to literally reboot the whole computer. The whole thing shut down like it was overheating. So we're back, mate. I know you probably said everything you need to say. I'm going to get you back on later with the panel, mate. I'm going to get you back on with the panel soon, and we'll speak to you in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being patient with the terrace. I really do appreciate it. If I've missed any super chats, I'll go back to them. I'm sure some may have already come in this evening. Thank you for Tom for covering for us there. Means a great deal. I literally went live and then the damn thing decided to go wrong on this. Someone just can't answer that poll. Listen, the poll's out there for a reason. I want to put that poll out there tonight because for me, Mo Salah is the greatest player in Liverpool's Premier League era. He just is, and he proves it again tonight, moving on to, 27, 28 Champions League goals in like 4 years, 5 years at the club. He's an absolute sensation. He truly, truly is. I don't know what's wrong with Sadio Mane, but it looks like he is not on it this season. Well, I think he was pretty much like that last year as well. When you speak to most Liverpool fans, he will come back. He will get back to his best, whether that's at Liverpool or whether that's at a different club. I don't know. Liam here says dominated most of the game, got a bit complacent, went again in the second half, got the job done. That's the main thing. Even Origi looked good. Salah just unreal is what Liam's got to say here. And if I'm being honest with you, like that's the truest thing that you can kind of say when you sort of point to this game. It's you had that lull towards, you went all guns blazing and you didn't get that second goal and you left the game open. In the second half, you came out with that same intensity in the opening 15 minutes, but you scored. I always find in football, when you play with that level of intensity, it's imperative you score 1, maybe 2 goals. You have to almost put the game to bed because you can die. You can almost die physically in those situations. When you get the goals and you get the lead, it almost it kind of gives you that kind of ability to relax. So mental fatigue comes in. And yeah, absolutely sensational tonight. And Mo Salah, you've got it absolutely spot on. Simply and utterly unreal. That's the only word that I think you should be allowed to describe Mo Salah with, is simply and utterly unreal, because that's all he is. He is simply and utterly an unreal football player. Simple and as straightforward as that. You just can't get away from it. He is simply that good. I'm going to read a few more of these comments here. Atleti drew. I haven't actually looked at all the results tonight because I was actually watching 3 games at the same time, which I've never tried to do before, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do again. I don't know if I'm ever going to try that again, to be absolutely honest with you. But in terms of tonight's results, I didn't even know that Real Madrid beat Inter Milan 1-0. I didn't even see that one. So Real Madrid beat Inter Milan 1-0. Sharifi beat Shakhtar the next 2-0. Man City sensational 6-3 victors over Leipzig. Club Brugge 1-1 with PSG, one of the results of the round. Dortmund, another goal from Haaland in that game, 2-1 win. Ajax were brilliant tonight, 5-1 victors over Sporting Lisbon. Porto 0, Atletico Madrid 0. Kendall will be fuming with that one. Obviously, she's not really had a great week in terms of football. But, an excellent night overall. We feel like tonight was a lot more exciting than yesterday. The games yesterday, although it was, of course, exciting for rivals to see Man United lose, I totally understand that. It wasn't an exhilarating night. As a football fan. Tonight simply was sitting back and watching that as a neutral was absolutely excellent. Do me a favor and smash the like button. LFC Sunny on the way next. Philip here says a perfect European night between 2 real elite clubs. Last season we wouldn't have lost this game. We would have lost this game. The mentality is back. Salah is a top 7 Premier League forward, is what Philip Hunt said. That's what I want to take your calls on tonight. We can review the game, but I want to talk about particular points. Where do you rank Liverpool fans and rivals? Where do you rank Mo Salah in one of 2 questions? Overall Premier League forwards of all time. And where do you rank him as Liverpool's greatest player in the Premier League? I don't expect you to talk about 70s and 80s and before the Prem. But Premier League era, who's been greater than him? I look at 3 things. 3 things for club legends are the most important. Records, consistency, and winning the major trophies. And I can't think of at least a goal scorer at Liverpool that's been as consistent as him, broke as many records as him, and won at Liverpool the trophies that he's won. He has all of them. He has clutch. The only thing he doesn't have going for him is he doesn't have a Scouse accent. If he was born anywhere in Liverpool, he would be regarded as the greatest player by Liverpool. I get the homegrown element means a lot to local fans. Of course it does. But he's sensational, no doubt. Aaron here says, happy with the 3 points. Salah is undeniable. And Hendo stepped up with a real captain's goal. The team will build on from this performance. You'll never walk alone. It was sensational. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Well, United are the only Prem team to lose this week. Embarrassing. They had the easiest game out of City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. And they let the Prem down. I understand that. Salah is at least top 5, is what Jamie says. Still Gerrard for me, is what Chris George believes. Shout to Fabinho, my man of the match, is what Faisal has got to say. And I get why a lot of people would have him in as their man of the match. Again, he's just one of the best. Someone actually messaged me the other day saying, can you start a dialogue on Fabinho about being one of the best DMs in the Prem. And I was like, I've always thought he was one of the best DMs in the Prem. I didn't know I had to start a dialogue about something that I thought was a prerequisite of football. Klopp is the most overrated manager of all time. If he was in a Chelsea or Real Madrid, he would have been fired in 2 weeks. Conte is greater than Klopp. He won the Premier League, FA Cup, Serie A, and did the Invincibles in Serie A, is what Rowe believes. Rowe believes that Jurgen Klopp is the most overrated manager of all time. What's your reaction to that one, ladies and gentlemen? Get those comments in here. David over on Give Me Sport says, set up Salah's goal. It says, set up Salah's goal. Divock Origi's pass for that goal was sensational. I thought it was very good tonight. LFC Sonny will be very happy they didn't score, because LFC Sonny did say that if Origi scored tonight, he would stream. By the way, not on my channel, because I wouldn't be having this. But no, we would. We'd do it for a laugh. He would be streaming naked. But, of course, Origi didn't get the goal. If Salah had 2 more seasons like the previous 4, then Salah has a debate, won't even be a thing. Salah clear. Do you know what's mad about it, right? Like, I get the Salah, Eden Hazard stuff. I think, I'm going to say this now with chest. I've got to say this now with chest when it comes to Mo Salah. I think Liverpool fans have got to drop this Mo Salah, Eden Hazard debate. Because for me, Mo Salah is already overtaking him. His consistency, his records, winning the Prem and winning the Champions League, for me, puts him above. As a greatness, I'm talking, not who's the better dribbler, who's got the best technical ability, greatest and or legacy. Mo Salah's in front of him. Liverpool fans have now got to start looking beyond that and looking to the Premier League elites, the Premier League greats. Who can he next chomp down? The Eden has, it's old news. It's old news. He's beaten him already. Let that sleeping dog lie. Liverpool fans need to move on and start saying, who can Mo Salah take down off that next, the next echelon? Stop going for the low-hanging fruit. Oh, let's say he's better than Rashford. Let's say he's better than Eden Hazard. Let's say he's better than just that ilk of player. I think you've got to start now talking. We have to start now talking about one of the greatest forwards in the history of the Premier League. What he has done both domestically and in Europe for Liverpool is sensational. He's getting better and better and better all the time, more and more consistent, records being broken. By the end of this season, he will be Liverpool's highest ever goal scorer in the Champions League. In the Champions League. I believe maybe in the Premier. I haven't checked on that stat fully. So I should before I speak, I suppose. But I've heard someone say it and I've done a little bit of research tonight. Sensational. So where do you see... I honestly, Liverpool's greatest ever player that I've seen. Liverpool's great in the Prem era, because I didn't watch before that. That's my thoughts. That's my opinions. We're going to share the link soon for you to come on and have your say. We want to hear from City fans as well tonight. That were sensational. 6-3 victors. And Jackie Grealish scored an absolute sensational goal to make it 4-2. And at that point in the game, it's always dicey against RB Leipzig because of the way they attack, the way they push forward. But very, very good indeed. Rowe back with a comment here. He says, Alonso has more trophies than Salah. Stop this nonsense. Alonso has Champions League and Premier League. This Klopp is overrated. Tuchel is the deal. Are you talking about Marcus Alonso or Xabi Alonso? Do you know what's crazy? Like, the one thing Mo Salah's got is that Premier League title and being pivotal in winning it. The greatness and the legacy connected to that is absolutely huge. Cruz here says Salah being a humble guy is what is keeping him away from the conversation of greatness. He is more like Messi than Cristiano Ronaldo. I understand that. The appearance is of a very humble man. I'm sure he is a very humble man, and that doesn't help. But obviously, it's about people. We talk about football here in the terror. I get the persona side of things. It's one of the reasons that Paul Scholes was never in the conversation, because I'm going to be a little bit horrible about Paul Scholes here, but he was really, really boring as a player. Like, he did nothing. Honestly, if he'd have been a bit of a playboy, do you know what I mean? The ginger assassin, drawing girl, he would have been recognized more. You're absolutely right about that. Mo Salah is very clean cut, and clean cut players can be left behind unless they're the England captain. Then they're fine. Keep them super chats coming, people. Evening, Terry. He is moving up to Liverpool's top 5 who have played for Liverpool in their history, is what Dinesh believes. Lee says, love our fans complaining about our depth. And once we use our squad, we call for Klopp's head. Very happy with that win, Terry. Terry, what are City fans? Do you know what, Lee? You're spot on there with the bit about rotation. I saw Liverpool fans getting angry, and I'm like, but you can't play your best 11 for every single game. They will all just get injured. They will all just get injured. Like, you have to rotate. Klopp got it bang on tonight. I am talking about Marcus Alonso. Marcus Alonso is not better than Mo Salah. Let's have it right. He's nowhere near. Like that. Come on, Ro. I love you, brother, but that's too much. That's too much. That's too much. Terry, you were just stupid for saying Salah is better than Hazard. What is the meaning of this? But you're not listening to what I'm saying, bro. It's not about who the better footballer is on technical ability. It's about, you put that into it, but records in the Prem era. So records in all comps in the Prem since they've been here. Consistency of performances and outputs and the trophies they've won. Winning the Prem and the Champions League, coupled with the consistency and the trophies and the records, I think he's done that. He's literally scored something like 3, maybe 4 times as many Champions League goals. And it always heavy. Always heavy. Mo is better than Neymar for me. Go Salah is what Robert Smith believes. Better than Neymar. Better than Neymar is what we're being told here. Some of the comments are interesting. Different positions. Are you talking about that? Okay, so I don't quite know what you're talking about there. I have to admit. Right, LFC Sonny's coming on to have his say. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that like and share. But I'm sorry about the mishap at the beginning, but wonderfully covered by Tom. Let's get this stream past at least 500 likes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to share the link as well now, actually, for you to phone up and have your say. We're going to take your calls tonight. I'll put call in now, but make sure you hit that like button as well. I'm going to pin that to the live comment section. If you're watching on Give Me Sport, we'll share the link there for you as well. If not, actually, if you want to call in, you're on Give Me Sport, click on the YouTube link on the video you're watching. It'll be in the description. Come and join us over here right now on the Football Terrace. In terms of the poll, nearly 2,000 votes. And on those 2,000 votes, 58% of you have said Mo Salah is the greatest ever player, Liverpool's greatest ever player from the Premier League era. 58%, it's a majority. Mo Salah is great, but Suarez is the greatest Liverpool player. Then you must not value trophies, my brother. You must not value trophies in that and records. I did see, I need to try and dig it out when I'm on here. It was showing a lot of goal scoring stats before Mo Salah was signed by Liverpool. And Mo Salah literally has stripped them. Like highest scoring African player, like loads of things like this. This guy has come in and done. He's a killer. He's a killer. Talk about Klopp versus Conte. Conte is the GOAT. This garbage of Klopp being the greatest is a lie, is what Rose got. Well, Chelsea fan, you got to step up here. This guy is dominating the chat tonight with the supers. Hazard got the biggest legacy, but Salah's the better player. It's close, but Salah is just more consistent. Hazard is a genius, but Salah wins more games. Do you know what's interesting about that? That's the logic of legacy. I think Hazard is more entertaining to people. Maybe that's why they think more legacy, because there's more hype and more talk, because it's more entertaining. You know, like some boxers are not the greatest, but their fights are amazing. Like Derek Chisora is not a great boxer, but his legacy is quite big because his fights are always entertaining. If he was to win a world title in that, it would like cement him probably above other world-class boxers of the last 20 years, but that weren't as entertaining. Interesting take. Interesting take, and I'm here for that. Let's do this now. LFC Sonny's here with us. Smash the like and share button. Let's go. LFC Sonny in the house. Liverpool 3, AC Milan 2. Give me your thoughts, mate.
I see a lot of people being positive, and fair enough, we won the game. But for me, I feel like I've kind of been slapped in the face by my own manager. So I want to speak about Origi at the start, and then we'll go into positives, because obviously we won the game. But Origi, for me, is known at the club for being a lazy player. Origi does not care about the club. So for Klopp to call Origi into this match, one of our biggest games of the season so far, and do that, Klopp's legacy has been lowered down for me tonight. After doing that, For me, if I'm a manager, you cannot start a player who does not care for your club. Origi, whenever he comes on the pitch, comes on, pretends he's injured half the time and sits on his arse to try and get a little bit of a rest, and then try and get substituted off by playing so shit. Origi, for me, has no care for Liverpool Football Club. And I'm speaking about Klopp's legacy. Klopp's still a legend, but tonight his legacy has been put down a level just for starting a player who does not care for Liverpool. In terms of Origi's legacy is gone. If I could go back, and I wish we could, to the Champions League, which we won, and you see the team felt well, they're all lifting the Champions League, I would love to just scribble out Origi's face because his legacy is gone. As soon as you're a lazy player, as soon as you don't really care what you're doing at Liverpool Football Club, which is exactly what Origi is, you don't care what the club you play for. And for Klopp to start him as our manager, to see what he is day in, day out, and he proves that he is like that. I remember seeing a video, Klopp and, Alisson Firmino done this little game video thing on YouTube. I think Alisson said the word lazy. Firmino realized he was speaking about Origi straight away. That shows you the sort of player he is. So to even be lazy at a football club when you're getting paid about 100,000 a week, I cannot have it. You do not care about the club you play for. And the club to start him, that's 10 times worse for me. So that's why I'm pissed off tonight, but we'll get into the positives as well. But that was on my mind the whole game as soon as I seen him starting.
Okay, a few things. Divock Origi set up the equaliser tonight with one of the best passes you'll see at Anfield all season. Firstly. Secondly,
no, wasn't even a good pass.
Secondly, Sonny, what do you mean it wasn't a good pass?
Was not a good pass. I cannot believe the keeper has not came out and catched that.
You are troll. No, how is that not a good pass?
It is not a good pass.
If KDB, Lionel Messi, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba did that pass tonight, if Henderson did that pass tonight, you would be absolutely jumping for joy. That's first point I'm going to make back to you. It's a nonsense claim. Secondly, Jurgen Klopp damaged his legacy. He had to rotate. In your eyes, you think he damaged his legacy because he's rotated in Divock Origi when he's been needed? Come on, you are chatting.
No. If I'm a manager for a club like Liverpool, which happens to be a club, family, all together, stuff like that, you do not go anywhere near a player who does not care for the club. And I know Origi does not care for the club. So to even consider starting him in a game like this, you cannot do that. Origi does not care for your club. So for Klopp to look at him day in, day out and training, stuff like that, see how lazy he is, which all the players know. So I'm sure Klopp knows. To start him in a game, I can't have that from my manager. I love Klopp. But to do that, for Origi, who doesn't care for the club, and start him against AC Milan, Champions League, first European night back. What's Origi done to deserve about this? And people call me hypocrite when I complain about squad depth. The reason I complain about squad depth is because Origi's a part of it.
I'm just flabbergasted. I'm absolutely flabbergasted that you're going up at Klopp. You're going at Klopp for this. I've never
Klopp makes the decisions, Terry. Klopp makes the decisions. You cannot start Origi as a player who does not care for the club.
Who else did he play?
There's three better options on the bench. Chamberlain, Minamino, and Mane.
As strikers.
Anywhere. I do not care if Origi's playing in goal.
Anywhere. He needed a striker. He needed a striker. He needed a striker.
I would rather Klopp play someone in defence at striker over Divock Origi. You look at him when he plays. He was awful tonight.
He ain't going to do that.
By half an hour in if Origi wasn't on the pitch.
So you would prefer Konate as striker over Divock Origi?
Because Origi does not care for the club, yes.
How do you know he doesn't care?
Look, he's known as a lazy player. If you're a lazy player...
By who? Who says he's lazy?
Alisson Firmino, and there's been other rumours around the club. Alisson and Firmino done a video on YouTube, and they said that it was like one of those games where it's like, guess who on the board? You got to guess who it is. They said the word lazy. Firmino, Alisson, whoever it was, guess straight away they're speaking about Origi. Origi's always talked down on by Liverpool journalists, stuff like that, in terms of how he's doing at the club. He doesn't care about the football club. He probably fakes injuries as well. And like I said, he always sits on his ass for half the game to try and get a rest and get subbed off. He doesn't care for Liverpool. So if I'm a manager, I look at this and go, you don't care about the club. Why on earth would I get you anywhere near the squad? And that's why I complain about squad depth. Not because we haven't got so much, but because Origi's a part of it.
We've got some super chats here. First one says, Salah has better European career over Hazard, but domestically, it's not even close. Liverpool only play for one trophy a season, and that is why they will never be the greatest team in history. We had another one here. I think people are coming for you, if I'm being honest. I might not be able to get all these super chats up because the comment section's gone so mad, so I am sorry. Origi was fantastic tonight. Nonsense talk from Peter Butler. There was other super chats. I've got to go to these first. I'm sorry. This was from... wow, so many come through. How does Origi not care about the club? This is from Dab Boy, who says, how does Origi not care about the club? He is just a different type of player. Relax, little kid mentality.
He's an awful type of player.
JJ says here, Terry, this guy talking poo, and I'm a Chelsea fan. Porcelain says, grow a proper moustache before you chat nonsense. Is what
Origi's
Porcelain
obviously
says.
Found his little chain accounts to make.
Hang on. Let me I've got loads of these to do here. If Tuchel wins the Premier League, then he's got the greater legacy, is what Rose says. Aaron LFC says, Sonny, you are sick. Can't believe you are being negative. You act like a troll Liverpool fan. So embarrassing. How can you disconnect someone that won us the big ears? Stop talking like you know who Origi is.
Look at a bigger picture.
You've got this one here from Dinesh. It says, Sonny, you were talking rubbish and Origi played great. Commentators on BT said he played well. They have more knowledge than you.
I don't know if they do.
Salah is on a better team, but Suarez is the greatest at Liverpool, is what Michael said there. We also had a super chat that came in from Pete Butler. We wrote out, but Lee says, get out, son. You're delusional. I bet you were praying for Coutinho to stay after the stunts that he pulled. Faisal here says, what is this guy talking about? Origi is a legend. Get this guy off.
Can you believe this? Origi is a legend. A legend. A legend. The word legend, Origi next to it should be nowhere near each other. How can someone say that? How can you call Origi a legend, let alone a good player? I remember what he done in 2018, but as soon as you start playing crap, more games than you play good, and you stop caring about the club, that's when it ends for me. I don't care. And can I actually speak about the positives now? Because that's my thing done on Origi. I've had my word on him. I despise.
We'll get you back on with the panel to do positives.
Because
you've been on like 7 minutes, mate. I'll speak to you in a bit. Top man. Thank you. Next up, we're going to get, we've got Daniel come in. We're back with Tom, back with Sonny really, really soon. Smash that like and that share button. Terry, I respect Sonny's passion, but I disagree. And that's what we're here for. We're here for, I disagree with Sonny. I'm a Man United fan. That was a perfect opportunity for me to have a little dig at Klopp, but I can't. And Divock Origi set up, honestly, you won't see... I guarantee you don't see a better assist at Anfield this season. You might see some equally as good, but that chip pass was out. And it was against AC Milan. You didn't do it against Club Brugge. Club Brugge. Nah, Sonny's having a mare. Would Sonny like some cheese with that wine, is what Daniel Lawson says. Next on the show, Tarap is here with us to have his say. Tarap, I know you might not wrong to speak about it, but we have to speak about it. Can you believe what has just come out of Sonny's mouth?
Can we move on? I did not like anything that he said, but I respect the passion, man. I'm flabbergasted, mate, honestly. But anyway.
Yeah, mate, what are you here to say this evening? What are you here to say, mate?
I wanted to speak about Matip, actually. I love him, and you know, it's very easy for people to say anyone looks better than Van Dijk, but if you actually play football and watch football, that's a very stupid and very narrow-minded thing to say. When BT Sport were doing the coverage on Matip a little bit, I don't know if you're watching the pre-match content that they were doing, Rio, Owen, and I think it was Crouchy. They were talking about how kind of composed he is on the ball, the way he brings it out, and actually, you know, everyone thinks about Van Dijk starting to play, but Matip is a key component of that as well. And for me, he's far better than Gomez. He's far better than Konate, who we still obviously yet to see. But I feel like Matip is one of the best defenders in the league, in the Premier League, that is. And I feel like not a lot of people give him the rightful credit that he deserves, because I know he's had his injuries, but every time he's been on that pitch, he's always started for Klopp and he's always been consistent. But this whole notion of anyone looks good without Van Dijk needs to stop, because it really does my head in. It's a very lazy thing to say.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's Twitter analysis.
Media,
social media analysis. This player looks good with him. One man teams, all that. No tactics. It's like rubbish tactics. Yes, poorly drilled. Yes. No tactics. Come on, you think they just go out and enjoy yourself, lads. It doesn't. Exactly. Those things don't exist at this level. And I totally agree with you, mate. In terms of the performance tonight, though, overall, yes, as a fan, yes, you'd have loved to have won 3-0. But is there something a little bit more satisfying about leading, losing, and then coming back in that way?
Mate, this is football. You love it. It's a big night, man. It's AC Milan. When it was drawn, I was buzzing, because do you know what? Like, it's AC Milan. It's their comeback, and they get us. It's like poetry. You know what it is, and we're a very emotional club, Liverpool. Like, so these kind of nostalgic, romantic things is something that we all adore. So I was buzzing when we got AC Milan, and I kind of expected a tough game, sorry, which it was. We switched off obviously before half time, but after that, honestly, we were all over them. It was like waves constantly. I was never scared that they'll get the third. I felt like we kind of assured it in the middle a bit more.
Yeah.
I think Keita came off, Thiago came on and helped a little bit. And I think, the substitutions were fine. Ox didn't do much. Mane, for God's sake, he needs to fix up. He's really doing hiding. He doesn't look great at the moment, but that's another thing. Hopefully, it's just one of those things. But yeah, all in all, good day, mate. It's I'm just happy the other game was a draw. I think it was 0-0, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know who we've got next. I think we might have Atletico Madrid. So against Suarez, I can't wait for that one. That'll be good.
Yeah, that's that. Well, there we go. I mean, I just hope by then that Klopp hasn't damaged his legacy further. You just don't need that. You don't need Klopp damaging that legacy more before the game.
No way.
Absolute legend, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate.
Right.
Top man. Thank you. I did put a bet on at halftime, by the way, of it being 3-3. I just went for a bit of a nostalgic bet. I was praying for a Milan goal for multiple reasons towards the end. By the way, if Milan were 3-2 up, I would have been praying for a Liverpool goal because it was quite nice odds. Sarim's on the show next to have his say. Big Liverpool fan, member of the Terrace. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, bro, it's a good game. Really enjoyed that one. I'm really excited for this group. When the draw came out, I was really nervous with this team, but looking at how the group is shaping, it's going to be a really exciting one. I think it's going to be the group of this Champions League this year, where you don't know who's going to finish in what position.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a really good group, and obviously from a like neutral. I'm not neutral. I'm a rival. Like, I was hoping you lose because I wanted to see you lose, but equally there was a football element to it as well, where I felt that if Liverpool would have lost tonight, it would have really opened the group up. I still make you resounding favourites. Did from the beginning. You are the best team in this group, but I felt like if you'd have lost tonight, it would have opened things up really, really nicely because. The last thing as a content creator as well, like we need excitement, and
you need jeopardy. That's what you're looking for.
You do need jeopardy, and if all the big teams win their opening 2 games, it makes the rest of the group stages a little bit boring. So I was hoping for a slip up, but you were just too. Do you know what you were tonight? You were just too good and too powerful for them. And AC Milan are really interesting. They're like, there's a number of Italian teams now that are not playing the Italian way. They're just opening up now, and they're being open. They're being expansive, and they're allowing space, which. When I grew up, it was if it was AC Milan of 10 years ago, they'd have gone 2-1 up, and you wouldn't have got a sniff near that goal. Yeah, I
was worried when we conceded the second goal. Like at halftime, I just thought this is how AC Milan fans felt at in 2005 because out of nowhere they just literally scored 2 goals and it was game over. I thought genuinely halftime, game over. They'll shut up shop. They're going to pack the box, and we're not going to get a sniff. But somehow we did get the goals, and they were very open, and it was pretty easy to go through, if I was being honest, kind of thinking back at it. Like looking at the way they defended, it wasn't as sound as you normally think they would be or you'd expect. But I couldn't care less. We've got the win, 3-2, game's done. Don't know who we got next. And I'm looking forward to it. And maybe Klopp will be out of a job at that rate if he keeps playing.
I hear you, bro. Listen, top man, Sarim. Speak to you soon. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers.
Everyone who's tuning in, make sure you hit that like button. The panel's coming up next. Tom is here. Daniel's here. Sonny's back with us. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to be taking more of your calls. I'll try and get as many of you on that are backstage as possible. Let's get this show past 500 likes. If you're watching over on Give Me Sport, welcome to the Football Terrace. If you're brand new to tuning in, there's a link in the video you're watching. Click on it. It takes you through to our YouTube channel. Join us over here now and subscribe to the Football Terrace. It'd mean a great deal to us. But Daniel, Sonny, and man like Tom Little, back on with me now. Let's do it. Yes, gentlemen, what an evening of Champions League football. What an evening. What an evening. So much to delve into. I know we've already kind of touched on Liverpool quite a bit tonight, so we will go back to them in a few moments. I want to ask you first, though, Tom, legacy damage tonight from Jurgen Klopp?
I mean, no way is he going to damage his legacy by playing Divock Origi anyway. But Divock Origi was our second best attacker on the night, and that pains me to say. He was better than Jota. He was better than Mane.
No, he wasn't. You're lying if you're saying he's better than Jota. You are lying.
He isn't a better player, but he
No.
was better today.
I understand you're not saying he's a better player, but he was not better today than Jota. Jota was also rubbish today, but he was not better than Jota. I think people forget with Origi, he can do one good thing, but he can do 20 bad things. And he gets in a position where good players do get in that position. But look at today. I think the first 20 to 30 minutes, he probably had about 4 chances to get a goal. And if that's Mane or Jota in that position, they get that goal. Origi is one of the most frustrating players in the world on and off the pitch.
I can't remember some of the chance. I know he missed one relatively big chance that you could go, should be scoring that. But he weren't lazy today either. Won the ball back the most out of anyone on the pitch. That's a statistical fact. He won the ball back most out of anyone on the pitch. His pressing was immense. I was taken aback because Divock Origi doesn't press. But today he was a pressing machine. He won it back so much. It was...
Yeah,
it hurt because you know he can do it.
He was very good tonight. Daniel, in terms of Liverpool this evening, their intensity was very, very good. I know they had that. For me, I know a lot of people were blaming Matip and Kate. I mean, I was heavily looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold for both them goals. I felt he was massively out of position. But overall tonight, how good were Liverpool?
Liverpool were calm. They got the job done. Like I don't think any of the City. I don't think any of the English teams have been impressive, really. If we're being honest, like Chelsea, creativity wise, they could have done better. Man City defensively, I still think there's a bit of issues there because I don't think they would have been happy with the amount of goals they conceded. Yes, they outscored their opponents. Everyone knows that, but obviously, I know Pep would have wanted to keep the door shut. Man United, obviously, we know what happened there. They would have been disappointed with that defeat. And then Liverpool, I just think, no, I'm not a Liverpool fan. So you lot will do the talking of the game and whatnot, but no one will ever convince me, ever in this life, that Trent is the best right back in the world. I always say this. There's this thing for me that what football fans don't understand is that why does there have to be a world-class person? Why does there have to be someone who is world-class in a particular position? Just because there's no one else who fills the vacuum or there's no one else who might be better than the person that is of discussion. There doesn't have to be a world-class right-back. Trent is a very, 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 very good footballer who still has so much to work on. His defensive positioning is awful. His one-on-one defending is awful. There were numerous occasions.
That is bollocks, Daniel.
Let me finish. We've let you speak. So, and people are tired of hearing you anyway. But defensively, awful defensively. Going forward, he's one of the best players I've ever seen going forward, especially as a defender. But like we keep saying, you cannot continue to be a 10 out of 10 defender and a 10 out of 10 attacker, and a subpar defender when your job description is right back. We know Klopp plays through his right backs. He plays through, his fullback, plays with the width and all of that kind of stuff. He's the guy, the outlet. We know that in the system he plays, he's one of the attackers. We know that. At the end of the day, Klopp is not this new man, revolutionary man who has told us that fullbacks no longer defend. Fullbacks are still supposed to defend. They are part of the defense. Klopp will not tell you that he tells Trent you're absolved of all defensive responsibility. So for me, Trent can continue being this great attacker. I think he's an excellent attacker. But the reason why no other manager who plays the way Klopp does or implements tactics the way Klopp does will be able to get the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold is because Trent is not currently being coached how to be a better defender. And until he is coached to be a better defender, I will refuse to call him a world-class player. And that's facts.
What I find very interesting about Trent tonight is, again, I want to put these shots up on the screen. This was just at the start. By the way, he got passed around very, very easily. He pressed in too quickly and got 1-2 around very easily. But I want you to focus on the fact that he is level with Diaz, who's the second AC Milan player up by the halfway line. They're level with each other at this point. This was a few seconds later. just as the ball's about to be reversed. As the ball's about to be reversed, it wasn't Diaz, he was level. Whoever it was, the player is here now on the right-hand side. Look at the difference between Trent and him. They were level on the halfway line, and now there's what?
Terry,
12,
the first goal's worse. The first goal's
I totally get that. But for me, this wasn't even bad defending. This was a lack of desire to get back. For me, Trent is quick. There's no reason for Trent not to be level with this guy, not to be level with him. And running along, it should have been on the inside of him, level. Then that reverse pass doesn't happen. Everyone was blaming like the centre-backs being out of position. And I couldn't for the life of me understand why Trent Alexander-Arnold wasn't being criticised for that goal. To be at that position and to not keep up with him. You're not slow. You're not a slouch. Those things for me are key. And I don't know what your thoughts are, Sonny, like on him. Like for me, he was massively culpable for both of your goals today. And when it comes down to the finer echelons of this tournament, he could be one of the reasons that you don't win anything this year from a defensive point of view.
Well, the reason they got knocked out last year, let's not forget about that.
For those two pictures, I'd have to see the clip again because obviously pictures can make things look worse. But for Trent, I want to go back to what Danny said. Awful defending something, he said. Trent is not awful at anything defensively. I think people are just forgetting. Trent is one of those players where he'll have 1 in 5 games, maybe a bad defensive game in one of those 5 games, and it'll be really bad. But in the other 4 games, he'll be defensively sound. And people just love to look at the one bad game every 5 games, something like that, and always pick out that one game and say, you know what? You defended bad in that game. We'll ignore the other 4 games. You were good in them, but we want to look at this game because you stood out bad defensively. And we'll go, you know what? You were bad in that one. Let's focus on this one. And you look like you've been embarrassed in that one. So we'll use this one as your real picture to show what sort of player you are. In the other 4 games, why don't we pick out the majority of his games and look how he defends? Because in the majority of Trent's games, he's defensively sound. He doesn't get caught out. He's not that sort of player in the majority of his games. He has the odd game once every 5 games where he will get like fall out. He'll get embarrassed. That's 1 in every 5 games, and we always focus on that 1 in 5.
Hang on a minute. How can you be a world-class footballer but be embarrassed once every 5 games? World-class, like Virgil van Dijk is a world-class.
1 in 5 games.
No. Virgil van Dijk's a world-class centre-back. He's not embarrassed 1 in every 5 games. Robertson on the left is a world-class right-back, in my opinion, or he's one of the best right-backs around.
He's not a world-class defender.
Hang on, whoa. He isn't embarrassed once every 5 games. Trent can't be a world-class football player if the other half of his job, you're saying he's a world-class crosser. He can be a world-class playmaker, but that doesn't mean he's world-class overall.
No, because he's good defensively.
But that doesn't mean you're world-class then.
Yes, it does. You don't need to be world-class at every single attribute to be a world-class player.
When you're a defender, you need to be world-class at defending.
Oh,
you cannot. No. I'm sorry. You can be a striker. Hang on. No. Yes, you can. Because Jurgen Klopp himself, Sonny, sat there and kicked off about him being played in midfield because he was saying he's not a midfielder. He's a defender. He defends the right-hand side of our team. Jurgen Klopp's actual words were, he defends the right-hand side of our pitch. I'm paraphrasing here, but he defends the right-hand side of our pitch brilliantly, he said. Defends the right-hand side of our pitch. His job is to defend. You've just said he gets embarrassed once every 5 games.
Once every 5 games.
That's ridiculously bad.
No,
it's ridiculously bad.
Sonny, tell me a defender who gets embarrassed once every 5 games.
But what you're forgetting is those 4 games where he is amazing and he is so obviously
the
standout player in the world.
That's a lie. Let me tell you something now, yeah. And this is to all Liverpool fans who watch the game different to all of us. And Tom, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let me tell you now, every single time I watch Liverpool, of course there's going to be games where Trent doesn't get or Trent's defending doesn't lead to a goal. I think that's maybe where you're mixing things up because we believe, I believe consensually, a lot of fans believe that Trent was one of the major reasons as to why AC Milan scored those 2 of their goals today because it came from that side. Just because Trent's mistakes don't lead to a goal doesn't mean he isn't making mistakes defensively. There are a lot of times in games where Gomez or whoever the centre-back is, Matip and Van Dijk, or probably Matip because Matip's the one who usually plays on the right-hand side, and even Gomez at times when he plays on the right-hand side, clean up some of the messes that Trent makes in the game. I'm not disputing the fact that Trent has had very good defensive games. However, when we're talking about world-class, one of the biggest key phrases when it comes to a world-class player is consistency. And as a defender, he is not a consistent world-class defender. He's not even a consistent, very good defender. I would say he's average. He's an average defender. And for you to be considered world-class, a world-class right-back, being an average defender, not in my book. No way.
He's held at world-class expectations, isn't he?
Well, he's held at world-class expectations because people call him world-class. I tell you what it comes down to is this. What's happened is that we've had quite a few young right-backs come through at the same time in England that are all very, very good at certain elements of their games. For instance, AWB's one-on-one defending was so good for a young player, we all overlooked areas and frailties within his game because you're meant to when they're young. Interesting with all of these guys, I'm not writing any of them off permanently, but they need to be developed. Defenders don't tend to reach their best levels until their mid-20s and beyond. And it's like we're all acting like they have to be the finished articles right now. They can all and probably all will improve. Daniel's right, though. We got carried away in this 18-month to 2-year period where being creative as a fullback seemed to be all that mattered to football fans. And if you were good at creating from that position, we ignored. Man United fans do it all the time with Delo. I've got to play Delo instead of AWB. And I'm like, okay, we improve on the attacking, but we get even worse on the defending side. I don't want it either. I want someone that's better at both those things if we're going to improve on it. And I'm not saying Liverpool need to replace Trent, but the world-class claim is a madness one for me. We've got some super chats I've got to do here. It says, Terry, do you give a script to Sonny before the show to speak about football like the way he does? I feel like my IQ is going down. I can promise you there's no script. Like there's no rehearsals.
I've not said nothing that should make your IQ go down.
Lowett, Dwight McNeil and Vinicius cooked Trent. Trent is an average defender at best. Reece James and Cancelo are better, more balanced fullbacks, is what Baz 10 has got to say. Joshua here says Sonny. Mane had one chance. He blasted it into the space that he blasted it into space. That ball is still on the moon, is what Joshua has got to say there. We're going to take some more calls now. Of course, I'd love to hear it. We will touch a little bit more, round up the other games a little bit later on the show. I'm not going to do too much on that because, of course, the Bet Victor show is back tomorrow. We're joined by Curtis Shaw from AFTV tomorrow night. We're going to review the Champions League games and then we're going to preview the Premier League weekend ahead. It's going to be an exciting weekend. Lots going on. Ollie out been trending for over 24 hours now, so that's going to make the games more exciting. Football's really kicking off great now. First caller we're going to go to, who am I going to pick? I'm going to go to Ads first, then we're going to go to Rack, both Liverpool fans, one by one. We're going to get them on to have their say. Keep those super chats coming. Let's get this stream, though. I love the amount of people tuning in across all platforms, but you need to do me a big, big favor, and you need to smash that like button right now, people. Let's get these calls coming in now. Let's do it. Abs is here with us. What do you want to say, mate?
Yo, Terry, thanks for having me back on again, my guy, man.
No worries, buddy. What do you want to say?
Well, I just want to say, great result again today. Liverpool showed championship mentality, in my opinion. I always come on there and I see a lot of people always trying to, slate Liverpool consistently. I know we can go down as the most hated as usual, and we're slept on going into each season. And I said it earlier as well. But once again, obviously, we had a lapse of concentration for about 5 minutes and conceded 2 goals. Definitely poor, not good, but still early in the season. But the performance, and if you watch the game for 90 minutes, you should see the dominant display that Liverpool did with a makeshift team. People are not talking about Joe Gomez, who hasn't played first-team football in almost a year and put in a brilliant performance. I just think the performance today from Liverpool was fantastic. AC Milan was a great team today. And I think a lot of teams, no disrespect, because there's a lot of easy groups out there, and we're obviously in the group of death. A lot of teams, if they ended up in their group, Milan would end up beating them as well. But I've got to give credit to my team because they delivered once again today, and we push on from there. Oh, and just one more thing about the Trent thing, because I'm hearing the back and forth about him defending, he's not world class and so like that. And you're right, he does have parts in his game that he can develop on the defensive side. But what he does for a right back is generational. And there's no disputing that because nobody delivers the ball like the way that right back does. So I think we should give him a little bit more respect rather than always picking up the flaws of his game, which a lot of people seem to do. And I just presume it's because he wears the Liverpool jersey, because if he was wearing for another team, I think it would be a little bit more lighter, in my opinion.
It's not about that, though. It's not about that. I think I agree with everything that you said. I think it comes across that way, but it's actually not. And look, I don't know what you... Obviously, I don't support Liverpool, but for me personally, I think there comes a time as a young player, a young talent, when, cool, we've seen how good you are. Now, let's see what the consistency is like. Let's look at you as an overall package. Like, you can break onto this, like, for example, players break onto the scene all the time and have great games. Now, over time, let's look at the whole package. And we're looking at the whole package of Alexander-Arnold, and we hold him to high standards. That it's a compliment to him that we can even discuss the fact that it's just a fundamental part of his game that he needs to improve, and then he becomes an all-around better player. But to completely ignore it, like for example, today, English bias again, the commentators today were like, Trent had a great game. That's a lie from the pits of hell.
I couldn't believe. I agree with you. I couldn't believe what I was listening to when they were talking. I get that there was other people that made mistakes in that, but I'm like, both goals came down that right hand side, and either time Trent wasn't where he needed to be, and he wasn't busting the gut to get back. And that was the bit for me where I'm like, no, I can't sit there and accept that. Abs, great call though. Thanks for coming on. I'm changing the subject slightly. I just had the maddest reply I've ever been given on Twitter. I quote tweeted something this morning about how I was I'll go to it actually. I'm actually gonna show the tweet, and I've got to. This is completely changing the subject, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't know how to take this comment. It's the weird. Right, so. This is the tweet. I don't know if I'll zoom in case people can't see it, right? So I put out something in a thread earlier that spoke about Man United. I've only allowed 8.66 passes per defensive action this season. In the second half against Young Boys, it was as high as 55 passes. You can't even see the graphic properly there, right? I then quote tweeted later on and says, this is disgusting from Ollie and United last night. Chelsea in the second half versus Liverpool averaged between 55 and 25 with 10 men. Of course, against Liverpool at Anfield, not against Young Boys. This is the reply I've just been sent. This is disgusting from Ollie United last night. Geez, talk about blowing things out of proportion. What is disgusting is that racism still exists in 2021, not the number of PhDs. It's like literally saying, don't criticize Ollie because there's racism. Have you ever seen? Should I be taking her seriously here, or I don't know what. No,
they're taking the piss. They've got to be taking.
So you're on, Daniel. You're on mute, bruv. You're on mute, bruv.
It's bringing up something that has nothing to do with what you said. Like, it literally has nothing. No correlation. I know.
I'm just sort of sitting there, and I'm like, I can't use the word. It was disgusting. It was disgusting football, but I can't use it. Honestly, I've never, ever seen criticism like that in my life before. I wanted to sense check it with the viewers before I carried on. A super chat here says, show me one defender who bombs forward in the history of football and not get cut out. Hang on, sorry, I can't read this. History of football and not get cut out. Who are allowed to bomb forward as Trent as fullbacks? I mean, look, of course, if you're in an attacking phase, let's just say Trent bombs forward and a pass from Thiago's cut out, but Trent's like sprinting, he's gone, and then they break. That's not Trent's fault. But that isn't what happened tonight. That isn't what happened tonight, in my opinion. Still got some really bad connection issues here, people. I'm really sorry, but I can't do anything about it. It's the internet. It's not anything else. Trent has more Prem and overall than Pogba in his late 20s. One is 22. The others act like he ain't world class. To say he's not world class is criminal. I mean, Daniel, him having more assists than Pogba, does that make his defending better in your opinion?
It's literally the racism tweet that just came up right now. We're not talking about his assists and his attacking ability. No one has said that. Bring me the film consistently match after match where he's locking out an opposing team's winger. He's stopping someone from being influential in the game. Because all I see here, do you know what the excuse? The only valid response which actually supports my argument for Trent being a weak defender is people say that Trent never has enough support. It's always about someone else when it comes to Trent's defending. Henderson wasn't there, which I put you up on, Tom, and I disagree. It's always about someone else. The team wasn't there to support Trent. Like he's not a kid, or he still is a kid, but he's an established member of this team, and everyone can agree. So as an established member, it's time for him to step up. And I want him, bro. I think he as soon as he becomes almost Marcelo-ish in his prime in terms of his defending, I'm not even asking him to be Dani Alves or Cafu levels. As soon as he becomes a Marcelo-ish in his prime, he there's no excuses for him not to be starting for England consistently, because he will be a better player in his own right, and people calling him a system player will have to shut up and stop calling him that.
Yeah.
Do
you know what I think it is?
Sorry. Let go on, Tom.
Yeah.
My thing with the lack of cover was you're having a go at him over not stopping a 1-2. A defender, a right back, when there's a winger and a centre mid there, can't be asked to stop the 1-2 and also show the winger down, because it's two different jobs. I'm saying you should have support, so Henderson stops the passing lane and Trent can just focus on the winger. He couldn't do that. He couldn't do that for I think it was the second goal. I think it was the second goal where they played the 1-2 around him, and then Fabinho got dragged over and space was created. Trent, as a defender, closer to our goal, gets exposed more so. But what often gets overlooked is how many times he wins the ball back so far up the pitch. He stops about 7 attacks a game by just picking off passes, making tackles when they're trying to break, and then setting up another attack. He's not a Wan-Bissaka level defender, but he's not a bad defender. He's not this awful defender. He's not as good as Wan-Bissaka. He's probably not as good as Reece James. But to say he's on a defensive end awful is just a lie, because he does a lot of his successful defending higher up.
I do get that.
Today anyway, but yeah.
I do get where you're coming from, but I don't think people are really saying that he's the worst defender in the world sometimes.
No, they are.
No. What people are saying is he can't be world class if he's not at AWB's or Reece James's level of defending, which overall isn't world class yet. I don't see how he can be a world class player. Especially when you've got people like Sonny that have said he's revolutionized the position. He's created a right back role that's never existed in the history of football.
But Terry, that's not the point. The point is you were just saying about the defensive thing. When people say how good he is defensively, whenever I hear a rival fan criticize, and Daniel literally said it 10 minutes ago, it's never he's not that good at defending. Daniel used the word awful 10 minutes ago. And whenever I look online about Trent's defending, it's always rubbish, shit, worst in the world, worst in the league, worst right back defensively in the league. When he's nowhere near that.
Listen, we're gonna go to some more calls now. We're gonna get Rack on to have you say, Rack, welcome back, buddy. What do you want to say, mate?
Hey guys, it was a good, decent performance today. We obviously got caught sleeping at the end of the first half, but generally speaking, I think we performed well. We limited Milan to, very few chances, and we created plenty. It was interesting. I thought that because I have Virgil nailed down to start. I pretty much think he's going to start every game, but it was interesting to see that the Klopp actually took him out of the firing line, gave him a little bit of a rest after the injury that he's coming back with, and even Origi, maybe this is a sign of things to come where Klopp perhaps rotates a little bit more. I think that's something that a lot of Liverpool fans have been critical of. I haven't personally, but if he does rotate and we can do so with continue to get the results and not and give other players opportunities and give some respite to our own first 11, then that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I need to get your opinion here on Divock Origi as he damaged Jurgen Klopp's legacy tonight.
Shouldn't be fun.
I mean, that's one of the most preposterous things I've ever heard. The idea that Divock Origi could possibly damage Jurgen Klopp's legacy by doing anything is frankly absurd.
Who picks him on the pitch?
I mean,
hang on, Fiona. What are you talking about, Fiona? Man, what? Every time someone says something on this show now that has no correlation to life, you're going to get called Fiona.
How is that got no correlation? Klopp picks him.
No, yes, Klopp picks him, but you're suggesting that it damages Klopp's legacy.
Because Klopp's the reason why he's played.
Yeah, but nobody thinks that him playing damages the legacy. So your Klopp picks him doesn't make any sense. You haven't stated why it damages the legacy. You're not giving a why. No, you haven't.
Yes, I have, because Origi does not care for this football club. There should be no such thing as a lazy footballer. No such thing.
Nobody agrees with you.
I don't need people to agree with me. That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No, it doesn't mean you're right though, just because you have an opinion. And frankly,
if I think
the
I'm
vast
right.
majority of people, the vast majority of Liverpool fans, I'm pretty sure will not say that Divock Origi
Vast.
is having a
I
material
think it's
impact
only
on Klopp's
slightly
legacy.
like it's just one
It's
in like
just absolutely mad.
People were blinded about what he done in 2018, and that is all it, or 2019. That is all it is. That Champions League run is all it is.
No, listen, the idea that Klopp can pick any player and that will damage his legacy is absurd. Like, okay, if Klopp picked what was that, Markovic? Klopp picked Mark. Did that damage Klopp's legacy?
No, Sonny, I'll tell you what. Good, sorry, Sonny, I'm interjecting here. Sorry. What would damage Klopp's legacy is to make no rotation and to keep playing the same players, and then Mane and Jota and Salah end up injured for the majority of the season, and you finish 8th because then you've got to play Divock Origi every week. That's far more damaging to Jurgen Klopp as a manager and to Liverpool than using. Jurgen Klopp doesn't want of Divock Origi at this football club. There's no way. I don't care what he says publicly. He'd have wanted signings. He wanted Daka. He wanted someone else in. But FSG didn't do it for him. He's going to have to play him at times, bruv. It's just as simple as that.
The point. There's 3 better options on the bench, Terry.
Who?
3 better options. Chamberlain, Minamino, and Mane. All
Minamino.
Sorry, you want Oxlade-Chamberlain to play as a striker. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever at any team in the Premier League, in any games that he's played, where he's proved to be a competent attacking like forward line striker. Like,
I don't think he really is either.
I love how this assistant he got today has been glossed over. He was actually very good today, Divock Origi. He was very good.
He played well.
What do you expect from Divock Origi? Do you expect 3 goals?
Do not make me laugh.
He
was good today. Oh my God, he's my frustrating
I got some super chats here. Sets of fans who always find fault in Trent are United and Chelsea fans, and it's because of AWB and Trent. I'm getting a bit of an echo from, so I'm not too sure who that's coming from. Don't forget, Salah is always up and not covering as much, is what Cynthia says. That's literally, oh my God, I've got to put super chats up, but did picking Benjamin Mendy ruin Pep's legacy? No comment. No comment. Jacob here. Thank you for becoming a squad member of the Football Terrace. Thank you. By the way, if any first team members or legends and super fans want to come to the studio this Friday, we're open for it. We also want to get some Chelsea fans into the studio. Got lots of Spurs in, and we're reaching out to people tomorrow to preview it. You know, imagine the Spurs Chelsea preview with no Chelsea fans. That's on Chelsea supporters. The invitation's been open. If you want to come to the studio Friday, let me know. We'll get you there and get it done. Daniel, who is a world-class right back today? Who would you put in as a world-class right back today, Danny boy?
I think that Cancelo. I think Cancelo is a world-class right back. I think he gets the job done. I'm so sorry. I think Cancelo
You're laughing
is a
because you don't mean it, Daniel. You're laughing because you don't mean it.
I can guarantee you, I'm not laughing because of this. I promise.
Is it the super chat?
It's not even. It's not funny. It's actually not funny.
It isn't funny, but it's but that's why it's funny. Things that are not meant to be.
Yeah.
The best comedians in the world make you laugh at things that you'd never say publicly.
It's because it's directly in relation to Sonny's. Do you know what? I don't think I personally, honestly believe that Cancelo is a world-class right back, and I think he's the only one. I think there actually doesn't have to be world-class so-and-so in a certain position if you genuinely don't believe they meet that criteria. Of course, I'm not trying to compare them to previous right-backs, but I think people think that just because there's no one or you're better than the rest, you're world-class. No, I don't think it should work like that, because what if everyone is dead and you're just a tad bit better than everyone else in that position?
Well, I agree. That's something I said the other day. Like, when it comes to these debates about legacy and who the best are, I think at any one time you could have 30 people that are world-class and no one. There should be, like anything, legacy, the whole lot, there should be a criteria you have to meet to be in that bracket. Like, I've seen people be world champion boxers, but they weren't world-class level. You know, that Charles Martin that AJ knocked out for his, he weren't no boxer. Like, he beat me, but he weren't no world champion level boxer. Like, that's where I feel sorry for fighters like Derek Chisora. Like, he's never had a world title shot at a man that crap. It's like, so, you know, that's what I'd love to see Derek get. Like, there to just be some bum world champion. And like, listen, no one else fight him. Let Derek Chisora do it. That's what I'd love to see happen there. Edward here. Go on, mate. Go on.
What I will say, look, about the whole Trent thing, I don't want to. It's been done to death, but I think any world-class attacking team. When I say world-class, I mean top attacking team. He walks into any of them because of what he can contribute. He has the label of being a defender, but defending isn't his main priority. It never has been. What he gives, the whole way that this team and the way that he's positioned and the way that he plays is to get the most out of the attributes that he does have.
But you get why that's weird.
There may be some defending involved, but there may be defending involved, and that's different than where other teams perhaps where the emphasis is more on one-on-one defending, for example. In any top-class attacking team, I think Trent walks into it at the moment. And look, I know historically you can say that. I'm of the belief that in football over the last 10 years, football over time gets progressively better and better in terms of the quality level. And because everything that you need to do to become top-class footballer now, diet, nutrition, the athleticism, the technical ability, the time you have on the ball. And therefore, if you take that, that's my position on it. And therefore, I take Trent to be amongst the best right backs at the moment, from what he does for us and what he would do for a top-class attacking team.
Yeah. I hear you on that completely, Rack. Listen, Rack, thanks for coming on tonight, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Top man. Thank you. Man like Donny James is calling out Sonny. He says he wants to come speak to you about something. Hakimi and Trent are world class, is what Hakimi then Trent is what Rose got to say. Trent versus James and AWB stats. We'll do that one day. I'll tell you a stat tonight. Messi has no goals and assists in the Champions League so far this season, aka legacy in the bin. But do you know how bad it's got, right? That's how like desperate we've all become as fans. We assess things like Messi, Ronaldo game by game. Like Messi can score like a brace and Ronaldo don't score. And like, see, I told you it was better. It's like, honestly, it's got mad.
Yeah, it switches every time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Right, we're going to be getting Donny James on, KFC extraordinaire, Doncaster Rovers extraordinaire. What you saying, mate?
Terry, glad to be back. Obviously, it's been a while since I've been on the show. Glad to be back. I also had a quick watch of the Sporting Ajax match as well. I managed to watch that tonight as well. So that'll be worth a little mention tonight as well. Since I can't.
What's on your mind? What do you want to say, Sunshine?
Yeah. First of all, Sonny, I respect your passion, but whoever his dealer is, keep me away from that stuff. Because he's smoking some bear shit if he comes out. He's coming out with some.
Go and explain why I'm doing that.
Because you say things like Divock Origi knocking Klopp's legacy. There are individual decisions. Managers make mistakes.
No, you don't make it a mistake by picking someone for the game.
Manager make mistakes, doesn't knock legacy. Alex Ferguson can make a bad substitution. That doesn't knock his legacy. It's one of those things. It's like Divock Origi. Yes, I get he's not a good player in my opinion. I don't think he should have been moved on from Liverpool years ago. But in my personal opinion, that for me doesn't knock Klopp's legacy. It's just a little mistake that Klopp will learn from that. Klopp will not play Origi again unless he's forced to, unless he's got his hands tied and forced to. The reason why he played Origi tonight is because he wants to rest the likes of Mane until he brought him on later on. Obviously, Firmino wasn't playing tonight. So from a Liverpool point of view, it was just giving Origi game time. And in my opinion, if you're playing someone that's not good enough for your football club, the only reason you play him is because it's for a shop window. He's playing them for a shop window and put them in the shop window for January to get the offers to get him out the club. And, I don't even think Origi was the worst player today. Mane missed more chances than Origi, in my opinion. But again, he still had those missed chances that he could have put in the back of the net. And Klopp will have made that mistake and Klopp will learn from that. I don't see it as a hinder on the legacy. I just see it as a mistake that he will learn from. So I think overall, though, from Liverpool tonight, it was a good performance. I was watching the Sporting Ajax game. Ajax dominated that game. Had a little look at the Club Brugge performance. That was amazing. That was trending, that clip, I swear.
How pathetic is that?
That's basically. I'm gonna make that into a meme on the terrace. Every time Sonny says something, anytime Sonny says something crazy, we're just gonna go.
How pathetic is that?
That's gonna be the new meme. That's gonna be the meme.
That.
Can we? Are you happy for us to use that?
I'll give you my honest permission to use that, please.
How pathetic is that?
That's
yes. But yeah, great Champions League action tonight, Terry. Big up yourself, big up the terrace. I'm so honoured to be back after such a long time. Work's been killing me to hell, but I'll tell you something now. I can't wait to be back on there at some point in the future.
What's your role? What is your role at KFC?
I'm doing middle of house at the moment, so I'm doing drive-through, front till, burger station sometimes as well. So just all different kinds of places. And let's get the win this weekend against Morecambe. Come on, we can't go 8 games without a win. We can't finish bottom of the league again.
Can you imagine? I hope Donny go down. It'd be such a laugh. I'm only joking.
No,
listen,
we have a Donny relegation party, like we have the 200k party.
Yeah, we do that. We'll do that. Listen, Donny, top man.
Yes,
Cheers,
man.
mate. See you soon. Thank you. Listen, everyone who's tuned in this evening, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. It means a great deal to us here. It really does. All the super chatters. Cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Trying to get them all up on the screen before we leave. All of the callers. Sorry we couldn't get more people on tonight. Congratulations to Liverpool. Congratulations to City. Well done, Club Brugge. Midnight Vibes is here in less than an hour. So make sure you're all tuning in. Some great guests tonight. Hussam, the Liverpool fan's going to be on the show. Who else is going to be on there? Man City fan Daps is going to be on the show as well. So make sure you're tuning in. Support KJ tonight. Support the Football Terrace tonight and make sure you're back. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. Everyone at Give Me Sport, thank you. And we'll